Imagine walking through a dense prehistoric jungle, the air thick with humidity, the ground shifting beneath your feet. You hear a low rumble. At first, you think it's distant thunder, but then the trees ahead of you start to shake. A shadow moves through the underbrush, something massive and unlike anything alive today. Your heart pounds. Whatever this is, it's getting closer. Now imagine if creatures like this still roamed the earth. We often think of extinction as a tragedy, a loss of incredible creatures that once walked, swam, and flew across our planet. But trust me, when you hear about these 10 terrifying animals, you might just breathe a sigh of relief that they're gone. We're talking about creatures that could crush cars, hunt like monsters from a horror movie, and wield natural weapons that make today's predators look tame in comparison. From a snake so big it could swallow a crocodile whole to an oceanic nightmare that made sharks look like minnows. These animals were the ultimate rulers of their time. Some of them were giant versions of creatures we know today, only much, much deadlier. Others were bizarre, alien-like beings that defy imagination. What if I told you that millions of years ago, there was a centipede as long as a small car slithering through the forests, or a bird so terrifying that it was nicknamed the terror bird and could chase down its prey like a feathered nightmare? These aren't just exaggerations. These were real, living creatures that once dominated the planet. And the scariest part, nature has a way of reinventing itself. While these particular monsters are long gone, evolution never really stops. Could some of their modern relatives be inching toward bringing these terrifying traits back? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself double-checking your surroundings, even if you're sitting safely at home. Millions of years ago, the world was a very different place. The land was wilder, the oceans deeper, and the skies filled with creatures that would make today's biggest predators seem harmless. Imagine walking outside and seeing a dragonfly with a 2-foot wingspan buzzing past your head, or spotting a scorpion the size of a dog crawling out from under a rock. These weren't creatures of legend or nightmares. They were real, living beings that once ruled their domains. And the scariest part, many of them were at the very top of the food chain. Take Titanoboa, for example. This was no ordinary snake. Stretching over 40 feet long and weighing more than a ton, it was the undisputed ruler of its prehistoric swamp. It didn't just squeeze its prey, it crushed them with the force of a small truck, bones snapping under its immense pressure. If this monster still slithered through the rainforests today, stepping into the jungle would be a death sentence. And then there were the megalodons, the ultimate ocean predators. These massive sharks could grow up to 60 feet long, with teeth the size of human hands. Their bite was powerful enough to crush a whale's skull in a single chomp. Even the great white sharks of today would have been nothing more than a snack for these ocean titans. Now imagine swimming in the ocean, knowing that something like that could be lurking beneath you, completely unseen until it was too late. But it wasn't just the big creatures that made the ancient world so terrifying. Some of the deadliest killers were fast, cunning, and relentless. The terror bird, for example, stood over 10 feet tall and could chase down prey at high speeds, using its razor-sharp beak to strike with lethal precision. This wasn't a bird you'd want to see running toward you. And these are just a few of the extinct nightmares that once roamed the earth. But what if some of their distant relatives are still out there, evolving, adapting, and waiting for the right moment to take back their place at the top of the food chain? It's easy to think of these nightmarish creatures as relics of a forgotten past, safely locked away in history. But what if they weren't entirely gone? What if traces of their legacy still existed, hidden in places we rarely dare to explore? Deep in the Amazon rainforest, scientists have discovered fossils of Titanoboa, suggesting that its massive form once ruled the swamps. But here's the unsettling part. There are still reports of enormous, unidentified snakes slithering through the jungles, too big to be any known species. Could something like Titanoboa still be lurking in the shadows, waiting to be rediscovered? The same eerie uncertainty lingers in the ocean. We know that Megalodon disappeared long ago, Yet every so often, reports emerge of massive, unidentified creatures in the depths. The ocean is a world of its own, with over 80% still unexplored. What if something ancient, something we believed extinct, was still out there? Every now and then, sonar readings pick up massive, fast-moving shapes too large for any known animal. Could the ocean still be hiding a monster from the past? But the real terror isn't just about what might still exist, it's about what could come next. Evolution never stops, and nature has a way of reinventing itself. In Australia, scientists have studied birds like the cassowary, which bears an eerie resemblance to the ancient terror birds. With razor-sharp claws and an aggressive nature, it doesn't take much imagination to picture how, given the right conditions, a species could evolve into something far more dangerous. And then there's the crocodile, one of the oldest surviving predators, barely changed in millions of years. If a creature like Dinosuchus, a prehistoric crocodile the size of a bus, once existed, could something similar emerge again? These questions are what make extinction such a haunting mystery. We think we're safe because these creatures have gone, but nature has a way of surprising us. If these ancient terrors ruled the earth once, who's to say something just as fearsome, or even worse, won't rise again? As we push deeper into the mysteries of these ancient creatures, the unsettling question remains: what if extinction isn't as final as we believe? The idea that something prehistoric could still exist today sounds like a scene from a sci-fi movie, but the world is full of places humans have barely touched. Remote caves, deep-sea trenches, dense jungles, these are places where creatures evolve in isolation, hidden from human eyes for centuries. Every year, new species are discovered, some resembling creatures long thought extinct. But what happens when something truly terrifying is found? In the depths of the ocean, strange, unidentified shapes have been detected by deep-sea explorers. Some of these creatures are massive, moving through the water with a power that doesn't match anything officially documented. A few years ago, a research team's underwater camera captured the blurry outline of a shark-like figure, larger than any great white ever recorded. Was it just a trick of the light, or could it be something far older, something that has survived the test of time? The thought alone is enough to send chills down your spine. And then there are the rainforests, where the thick canopy hides creatures that have yet to be discovered. Deep in the Amazon, tribes speak of snakes so enormous they could swallow a man whole. Legends passed down for generations. Scientists dismiss these as myths, but time and time again, explorers report seeing massive shadows moving beneath the water, glimpses of something that shouldn't exist. Could it be possible that a titanoboa-like creature still stalks the swamps, waiting for the moment when it finally reveals itself to the modern world? Even on land, there are stories that keep people on edge. Sightings of oversized birds in South America, their silhouettes eerily resembling the terror bird, have sparked debates among wildlife experts. Are they just overgrown versions of known species, or could evolution be repeating itself in ways we aren't prepared for? As we get closer to uncovering the truth, one thing becomes clear: the past has a way of creeping into the present. And if these creatures are out there, hidden in the shadows, how long before they step back into the light? Just when it seems like these ancient nightmares are nothing more than whispers from the past, something happens that changes everything. In a remote corner of the world, far from crowded cities and modern civilization, a discovery is made, one that raises more questions than answers. A group of researchers, deep in the heart of the Congo Basin, captured drone footage of a massive, snake-like figure moving through the water. It vanishes beneath the surface before they can get a clear view, but the size alone defies explanation. Experts argue over the footage. Is it just a trick of perspective, or could something truly ancient still be lurking in the unexplored depths? And then, thousands of miles away, another mystery unfolds. Off the coast of South Africa, a fishing trawler hauls up something unexpected. At first, the crew thinks it's just another deep-sea shark, but when they pull it onto the deck, they realize it doesn't match anything they've ever seen. Its massive jaws, serrated teeth, and unusual proportions send a wave of unease through the team. Before scientists can analyze it, the body is lost to the ocean, swept back overboard during a storm. Only a handful of blurry photos remain, fueling endless debate. Was it just an unknown species of shark, or did they come face to face with something far more ancient? Reports like these have a way of being dismissed, written off as exaggerations or misidentifications. But the eerie part, they keep happening. Strange noises recorded from the deepest parts of the ocean sound so loud and powerful that no known animal should be able to produce them. The more we search for answers, the more the questions pile up. Are these just coincidences, or is something we thought long gone still out there waiting? If these prehistoric creatures ever did survive, they wouldn't just be remnants of the past, they would be apex predators in a world unprepared for them. And if they remain hidden, the real question isn't whether they exist, but when we'll finally come face to face with them. As the reports pile up and the evidence becomes harder to ignore, scientists and explorers alike start pushing further into the unknown. Expeditions are launched into the deepest parts of the ocean, drones are sent into untouched jungles, and researchers comb through decades of unexplained sightings, trying to separate fact from fiction. And then the breakthrough comes. In a remote stretch of the Pacific, a deep-sea exploration team catches something on their submersible's camera, something massive. At first, it moves like an ordinary shark, but then it turns, revealing a shadow too large, teeth too jagged, and eyes that seem too intelligent. The team watches in stunned silence as the figure vanishes into the blackness, leaving only a single chilling frame behind. When the footage is analyzed, experts argue over what they're looking at. A misidentified giant shark? A new species? Or could it be something far, far older? The discovery shakes the scientific world, forcing a re-examination of everything we thought we knew about extinction. Meanwhile, deep in the Amazon, an expedition follows up on the reports of an impossibly large snake. What starts as a simple study of the ecosystem turns into something much more when they come across a set of massive, slithering tracks leading into the river. The team hesitates, scanning the water, hearts pounding. And then, just as they're about to dismiss it as a trick of nature, the surface breaks. A colossal shape moves beneath the murky water just out of clear view. Cameras roll, but within seconds, it's gone again, disappearing without a trace. The jungle goes silent. Did they just come face to face with a modern-day Titanoboa? The discoveries are groundbreaking, but they leave the world with one final, haunting question. If creatures like these can survive, hidden from human eyes for so long, what else is out there? What other nightmares from the past have managed to endure, watching from the shadows, waiting for the moment when they finally reveal themselves? The idea is thrilling, terrifying, and impossible to shake. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that nature never truly lets go of its most fearsome creations. In the wake of these discoveries, the world is left with more questions than answers. Scientists debate the implications, skeptics call for more proof, and explorers prepare for the next journey into the unknown. But one thing is clear: extinction may not be as final as we once believed. If creatures from the past have survived undetected, what else could be out there, lurking in the depths, hidden in the forests, waiting in the places we rarely venture? As the research continues, some experts warn that if these creatures have remained undiscovered for this long, there might be a reason. Perhaps they have adapted to avoid detection, their survival depending on staying hidden. The modern world is a dangerous place, even for apex predators. With human expansion, deforestation, and ocean pollution, what if these ancient survivors are fighting to exist in the shadows, clinging to a world that no longer belongs to them? If they do exist, is it possible that their numbers are so small that they are on the brink of disappearing forever, just as they were finally being found? But there's another, more unsettling thought. If evolution is constantly shaping and reshaping life, then what if it isn't just the past creeping into the present, but the future forming something even more terrifying? We've seen how certain species, like crocodiles and birds, have remained close to their prehistoric ancestors, barely changing over millions of years. But what about those still evolving? Could nature, in its endless cycle, be creating something entirely new, something we aren't prepared for? Despite the evidence, the ocean remains vast, the jungles remain dense, and the truth remains just out of reach. For now, the creatures of our nightmares exist only in fragments, blurry footage, strange noises, and eerie encounters that never quite give us the full picture. Maybe that's why these mysteries remain so fascinating. The idea that something massive, something terrifying, something thought to be long gone, might still be out there, watching from the shadows. And so the search continues. Scientists, explorers, and everyday people will keep looking, keep wondering, and keep questioning the limits of what we know. Maybe one day we'll have undeniable proof. Maybe one day one of these lost giants will step out of past,